I should start recording. Okay, I will. You're welcome. Let's start recording.
Recording in progress.
Okay, now we're recording. So, let's start again. Cross-company collaboration in Jira is my talk. How to make it work for everyone. Let's say you're part of a company, good software, you're a member of a product team there, and you build some products. Now you get another idea for a new product, but somehow you realize it's too big for you alone to handle. So what can you do? Wait until you find the right people to tackle it, or postpone the new idea? Luckily, you're not alone in the world. And you know another clever company, great software, who has just the right skills and even capacity to help you out with your idea. But how are you collaboration? So we have collected some collaboration essentials. And not surprisingly, first of all, there's communication. You need a clear way to communicate with your partner. How do you transport the information to your partner? And how do you receive information from them? Where is the information stored for later access? One special part of the communication is responsibility. Who is actually responsible for a certain task right now? Who needs to act? Is it you? Is it me? Do I just need to wait right now or also still do something? Who's working at it at your partner's side? So in the end, you don't want to be simply informed about the current state, but you want to get things done together, right? Reporting comes in many facets. As the project manager, you want to get an overview or report answering the question, how can I get an easy overview? What's being worked on right now? What's the current state? In addition, you might want to go into visual reporting with charts or diagrams to visualize the actual progress of your project. And last but not least, there's the visibility. You want to collaborate with another company, so of course you want to share information. However, you probably don't want to share all the information you have. There might be some internal tasks or data which needs to be protected in your systems. So, with all these requirements in mind, how can we address them for our collaboration? In this talk, I want to concentrate on the good software team in Jira and possibly collaborate easy, like, use email to communicate, right? Everyone in an office world already has access to emails. No additional setup step is needed to get started right away. How does email address our requirements? As said, everyone knows how to write and receive emails. I assume the communication therefore doesn't need much explanation. You write an email about all the you want to transport to the other partner. You receive emails with the updates from them or with additional questions. However, it's quite some effort to manually update all the people about the progress, while you probably maintain that information already in your Jira and the others maybe as well. Talking about responsibility, you can of course also communicate in an email that you've started to work on this topic, but is this information really easily accessible, or it's somehow hidden in your mailbox? So this may work for a couple of tasks, but for bigger projects it's probably quite troublesome. How do you report on emails? I usually search for them, search in them for keywords and hope the right item shows up. Maybe you are one of the persons who keeps like order really structured in all the folders, but I guess you'd also agree that actually creating reports out of these mails is rather cumbersome and confusing. The visibility of the information can easily be controlled, you could say, based on who you write the email to. And since you can exactly choose what to write in the email, you can also really make sure that you don't share data you don't want to. However, if a colleague joins later into the project, it's not that easy that he sees all the information because it's hidden in your personal mailbox. Or so would you then forward the long email thread or so? Maybe not the best idea for that. So looking at email as an option, the communication is really easy to use, but it requires significant effort for writing all these emails. The responsibility can be expressed, but it's also hard to get a good overview who's actually responsible right now for a topic. Reporting is a real big gap for me. You probably end up storing the information from the emails inside your Jira again, so it's manual copy-paste work. And the content is only visible to the recipients. You can choose if that's good or bad for your use case. So there's no obvious cost involved. That's maybe a benefit. Everyone has the email boxes already, but there's this hidden cost of a lot of manual work. So I recommend to use like emails for little external tasks. Maybe if you organize the next company t-shirt, you write emails to the t-shirt design shop, and that's fine to collaborate on this level, but probably not for bigger things. What other solutions are out there? In order to collaborate, you could also give access to your Jira, right? Why don't you do that? If we assume the external users would also have the same level of access, then the communication would be super easy. You simply use Jira as you usually would do within your project team. Writing comments, updating fields, transitioning from status to status, everything is possible. The responsibility would also be super easy. You can simply use the actual assignee field. You know all the time whose turn is it right now to act. So no big deal here. Reporting would be straightforward. You can use all of Jira's different views. You can use like boards, or you could use like list views. Of course, all the reporting, even like the native ones, or even with more marketplace apps as well, if you want to. So there's perfect reporting. For visibility, that's probably the biggest challenge for this approach, because how do you make sure that the external users are only seeing what they are supposed to see? So on a project level, you can actually apply a permission scheme to control what all users can do in this project. So you could, if you actually introduce that, you should make sure to check all permission schemes so that no user like from the outside has accidental access to other projects. On a deeper level, you could also control an issue level. Like if someone has access to a project, to say, yeah, this issue, I want to restrict it further. Using issue security scheme, you can restrict these from certain users. And so you could just like, here I've added here a cloud screenshot for like how you can restrict it to like, let's say internal. Also on a comment level, you could actually control that. So at the comment level, you also have these restriction possibilities to say restrict who's able to see this comment, if it's a group or project role. And even like on a transition level, so if you say, who's able to transition from one status to the other, you could also define conditions and say, only like my internal users can do that, and not the external ones. So giving access to the Jira seems to be quite easy and handy. Maybe besides the visibility restrictions, that's up to you if that's a thing or not. And also there's the cost for the users, of course, for all the external user, everyone which would need this access. And even more interesting would be the user management for every external user, I'd say. Onboarding is fairly easy. People usually speak up if they need the permissions. But how do you guarantee a good offboarding process? If an employee of your partner switches projects, will you always know about it? Then will you offboard him? I think there's a lot of potential of like just paying also for users which are not really active anymore. A big downside for your partner probably is as well that they can't track the work in their own tool. So they can't view the work they're doing for you in context with all the other work on their table. I therefore recommend this approach, more to use it for like single freelancers if you work closer with, who you are kind of treating as your own employees. So are there any other solutions? Of course there are. You could also use a shared instance. So it's so easy to start a new cloud instance these days, and if it's only 10 users, it's even free. That could be an easy solution, right? If we're thinking about communication in that scenario, responsibility or reporting, there are basically no changes as if you granted them access to your own instance. So just what we talked about. Visibility is probably getting a lot easier because in the easiest setup, you're just having this instance for this project or for like everyone can see everything and you don't care too much about the rest. So that could be a really easy solution. Um, with this clear separation from your other Jira instance, it also makes it a bit harder to view this project in the context of other work, of course, because then it's not directed and connected to your own Jira. So yeah, it's hard to see it in relation. And the cost is obviously like if it's really only 10 users, it might be not that it's free. But if it goes above, you will pay additional for these users of the internal and external ones. My recommendation would be use this rather for projects with little dependencies on others. Maybe like you start a new prototype idea and you collaborate on that, which has basically no relations to the others. So that would be a good way to go for here. That was solution number 3. I still have 2 more for you to talk about. You could also use a marketplace, actually, marketplace app to share issues externally. There are several apps in the marketplace which offer you to share one or multiple Jira issues with a link which you might know from sharing Dropbox files or other cloud storages where you just generate a link, you send it to your friend, to your partner. For my talk, I've chosen external share for Jira just as an example, which is developed by Old Street Solutions. But you can transfer the concepts also to other apps as well, which you can see here on the screenshots, or I think there are some more. In these apps, like here for the communication, you get an UI like this one here, which looks similar to the Jira UI. Anyone who's able to access this URL actually can comment on the issue, can add attachments, can switch the status. So you can communicate with the other team to make sure that the issue is really crystal clear and can be implemented. Editing of fields is not yet supported here. Maybe with this or similar apps in the future. That's what you could look into. If you set up your workflow accordingly, you can also use that to express who's responsible at the moment. So you could say, I have a status in progress internally, in progress externally, so that I'm sure who needs to act right now. Or I could also comment, of course, and just write, oh, I'm working on it right now. But like you can't really use the assignee here because the external user is not a user here in this Jira. So that's how you would need to work around it a bit. For the reporting, of course, internally, you can still use the whole Jira power of reports and also graphical reports. When it comes to reporting for the external team, there are some views here as well. Like you can use such a board view, which is available for them, or also a list of issues in a table view. So it's also actually at least some reporting possibilities also for your partner. And these possibilities also lead over to the next level with the visibility. You can create these share links based on a board or filter level in Jira in order to share multiple issues at once. And only the issues which are part of this filter will be shared. Or you could also create a share for a single issue. So it's only like one single issue which you share with another one. And then you have some control what the people can see and do, like if they can view comments, add comments, attachments, like there's some further configuration possibilities. So using an external share app, it's easy to have a conversation and therefore communication going. The editing of fields is not yet supported, but maybe in the future. For expressing the responsibility, you can use the statuses or maybe comments. Reporting is great for yourself with all the Jira ways. For your partner, it's not super great, but it has some level. And the visibility is simple to understand. You share either a set of issues or single issues, and like then you exactly know what you share. Of course, there's some cost for an additional app according to your Jira instance here. The biggest disadvantage I see is that your partner can't see their work again in context with the other work, which probably means they're still duplicating some information. So your partner still needs to copy information from wherever they keep it to the system. So my recommendation would be here, use it for smaller collaboration projects, like if it's something like in the middle, you could say. So the last solution for today is use automated synchronization between your instance and the other one. There are several issue sync apps in the marketplace which offer you to synchronize issues to other instances and back. You can configure exactly like the issue sync app, what should be exchanged, what do you want to, what information do you exchange. In my talk, I'll talking about backbone issue sync because that's the app we develop, but you can transfer the concepts also to the other apps as well and judge for yourself which one you'd like to use if you opt for this use case. For the communication, you can keep using Jira as usual. Write comments, update fields, change the status. The issue sync app will just synchronize all the changes in the background to your partner's project, and you don't really need to act differently as before. Since the user base is different, you need another, like of your Jira and the other Jira, you need another way than only the assignee to express who's responsible. You can introduce separate workflow steps again, as we've seen before, with this in progress externally or internally or externally, or you could also actually add a custom field, for example, who's responsible right now. So here in my example, I said like, oh, responsible team, is it good software or great software? So you can actually see like who's there. And then of course you would synchronize this field also that it's visible on the other side as well. In terms of reporting, that's quite easy again. You can use all the Jira reporting things which you want. So again, like boards, filters, graphical reports, whatever you wish. Visibility-wise, you have also different levels how you can control what is being shared. For example, on a project level, you can define a JQL query to select a certain subset of issues you want to share with your partner. My example here, if an issue has a certain label, external, I would share it with a partner. But of course, this criteria is perfectly up to you. Like you could say, oh, I want to share all our UI issues with my partner, then do like specify this criteria. That's quite easy. You could also filter or configure this issue, but you define exactly what fields should be shared with your partner and which ones not. And also if you want to share bidirectional, or if you just want to share the information from your system as read-only to the other side, that's configurable based on your needs. For the versions, I only want to synchronize versions with a certain pattern. So I might have some internal versions which I don't want to synchronize, or for other behavior like certain issue links to filter these out. So to sum it up, for the communication, there's no extra overhead. You simply work in your Jira. The responsibility can be expressed through statuses or custom fields or other ways of Jira data, which don't require that the person exists on both sides. Reports are possible in all the native Jira ways. You can use all your usual Jira reporting mechanisms. The visibility can also be controlled on the issue and field level, but I think the main solutions actually is everyone works in their own systems. The other work partner can also plan, they can do their work good. They can also do it good for you. And so it's really easy to get an overview on a higher level. Of course, also for this solution, there's a cost for some cost for this additional app. And in the nature of these apps, it can be that the additional administration effort is a bit higher if you change the Jira configuration. assume like I'm adding a new status to a workflow. Of course, you need to adapt the configuration for this issue sync app as well to tell it, oh, what does it need to do with the status? How should it synchronize this over to the other side? So this is this additional bit effort, what I mean. So my recommendation actually is like use this one for the larger collaboration projects or for the ongoing ones. If like that's something more which is like keeping going for years or for a longer time, that makes sense to really integrate that deeply. So these were all the solutions I have for you today, how you can collaborate across companies using Jira. I can sum it up here on one page again. Like use email, that's maybe more the no-brainer for the little external tasks, maybe for the beginning of a project when you don't yet have another solution in place. You can give access to your Jira where you mainly want to treat them like internal employees or single subcontractors or freelancers, if you're stuff like that. An external share is an easy way to quickly share issues without much setup needed. If you have that in place, you could even like replace email in some cases, also for the initial phases. And if you want to keep the overview in longer or larger collaboration projects, I'd recommend to go for real integration between the systems with an issue sync app. Of course, these are only my recommendations. You're free to draw other conclusions yourself. I'm also happy to talk about your scenarios. If you have something in place, that's happy to get into contact with you. That's a thank you from my side. I'm also happy to receive questions. Depending on the audio quality, maybe via chat, but we can also talk, or you could always reach out later as well. And if you're interested in getting some news from us, you can also feel free to sign up for our newsletter. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Matthias. Any questions? Anybody? Yeah. Please raise your hand. We'll have to use mic. Nobody? No questions? All right, Matthias, thank you. So there is no question from audience as of now. I'll pass on your contact if they have anything, so they can contact you. Do you like to send this QR code to us? If you want, we can display here if they still want to sign up. So during lunchtime, we'll keep it on the screen. If you want to just quickly send that.
I couldn't fully get it. I'm sorry.
All right, so no question from the audience, Matthias.
Okay, no questions. Just for you to know, I'm not sure how many of you are actually also in, at the Team 23 in Las Vegas. There's also still a chance to register. I think also Vishnu can share some discount code with you, or I can also do that. We are also there, and I'm also happy to talk with you there in person. Happy to meet you if you're going there.
Thank you, Matthias. I think a couple of folks are coming from the community. I'll check with them if they need a discount code and we reach out to you. I understand you couldn't get it. I'm going to type that. All right, thank you, Matthias. So who are joined in the virtually in the meeting? Any question from your side? If not, we will close the Teams meeting now. Sorry, the Zoom meeting now. We'll be dispersing for lunch after a quick group picture.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Matthew. Thanks a lot for K15T and Ravis for collaborating with us and sponsoring this. Looking forward to have many more such collaboration in future. Thank you so much. Have a good day. All right, so we'll have a quick group picture before we disperse for lunch. We will also have a quick lucky draw. So there will be 4 vouchers from Atlassian. Will Girish will drive that now. Close your laptop. One more time. I have signed. 52. All right. So may I get a confirmation that you all have signed in this sheet? If you are not, you're gonna miss a $20 worth voucher now. You haven't, please come and do that now. Do they have a choice, Krish, now? No, I think. Okay. Yeah. So if you haven't done, gone. All right. So how we're gonna do this? We have, based on your registration formality, we have given a number against your name in this sheet. So we'll do some random number generation between that sequence, and then, okay. Yeah, so if you're lucky, you'll get that picked up in the lucky draw. Number 48. Oh, you did already. All right, so the first winner is Umar Sharif. I see here. If he's not in the room, then we're going to next person. Yes, he's not here. We'll go to next person. 27. Monish Kumar. Do we have Monish Kumar here? Congratulations. Uh, who? You are Monish Kumar, right?
Who's Abhigyan?
Apik is his friend. You can just fill in your email address here. So we'll send you the voucher via email, either today or tomorrow. Thank you. Congratulations, Monish. Yeah, make sure you provide your genuine email address. We have had the incident earlier when we sent this to the email address given that went to someone else. And that person was smart enough, they claimed right after getting the email. 32. Priya Panaraj. Congratulations, Priya. So you can give your mail address here. So we have 2 more, right? Thirty-eight. 38. Rohit Gupta. Do we have Rohit here? No. No. 50. Vijay Gautam. Hi Vijay, congratulations. So give your mail address. Here. Was it? So he just said he's in lifetime he's getting a lucky draw in first time, it seems. One is Apikan. Do we have Apikan here? Wow, so came together, one together. Great. So those are for lucky draw sponsored by Atlassian. So we'll send the voucher to your email address. So we'll quickly gather here for a group picture, then we can disperse for lunch. So once again, let me thank you all for joining us today, given that all these travel restriction and other things. Appreciate joining us, and we do have events coming next week as well, next Saturday again. will be joining in the Bagni Ballandur. And we are also working with Atlassian to come up with a viewing party for Teams 23. Mostly will be on May 6th in Atlassian Bangalore office. So keep watching our space, the BB portal we have, where you all signed up today. We'll post the event there. So make sure you all are present there. Thank you.